All right, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the program. It's Good Afternoon, Ghana, and we're yet here again to discuss issues of the country. Just yesterday, we had the information from the presidency that some new ministers had been appointed. Remember that we had about 4 ministers that had resigned from the current government, and so they had to be replaced because we had other ministers, substantive ministers, who were put in place as caretaker ministers to take care of those ministries until the appointments have been made. And that's by law. And so now new ones have been appointed to substantively take care of these ministers. We'll do the analysis of it, and we know we've received a lot of feedback from the public. Are these ministers really going to be able to turn around the economy in any way, considering how long this government is left in office, especially maybe the agri ministry and the trade ministry. Agri is supposed to be the food basket, really. The trade ministry will be taking care of all of this, our inflation, trade balance, issues that are directly hitting the economy. Trade, is directly in charge. So let's see the people who have been put in place and what change they can actually effect once they have been put in office. I'll have Elikem Kotoko, who is the Deputy National Operations Organizer for the NDC, and also Palgrave Boachidankwa. He is government spokesperson, also in charge of security as well. Let's take a break. When we come back, I'll introduce his guests, and then we'll start talking. Welcome back. So what I earlier on told you about is a new appointment of ministers that's been made by or led by His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo Addo, the President. And to help me do the analysis of it, Elikem Kotoko is Deputy National Organizer for the NDC, and also Palgrave Boachidankwa is government spokesperson. They both have joined me in the studio. Elikem, you're welcome. Good afternoon.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for joining us. I hope you're doing well. The last time you came into the studio, we had a problem with your hand. Your mic is off. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yes, I'm okay. I'm getting better.
I grilled my producer a little when he told me you were coming.
Yeah.
He said, Henry, no, I'm not happy. Let him rest.
Yes. Sometimes there's a saying that uneasy lays the head that wears the crown. So you've taken up a role, and in that state, if you can still be mobile a bit, you try a little bit. Yeah. So I'm healing alongside, yes.
But the pain is definitely gone down?
There's still a little pain, but I think I'm much better now than before.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously. I mean, the last time we had an interview, I regretted interviewing you.
Oh, sorry.
Because
no, it's okay.
I was sitting here and I could see you moving the hand. Either you want to put it on the table or you want to hang it.
I didn't want the cameras to capture that, and I was, But for today, now I can do everything. Yeah. So,
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, you're obviously healing. We thank God for that. Palgrave, you're always welcome. Good
afternoon.
Thank
you. Good afternoon, Annie. And it's good to be here.
I actually overheard you speaking to some radio station or something. No?
Oh, sometime this week. I think those issues have been trashed out internally. I'm certain that.
Oh, there were some issues, were there? Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Trashed out. Don't just bring anything.
You mind briefing us?
There's no need refreshing that. There's no refreshing.
It's been trashed out. Anyway, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Palgrave, let me come to you first because you're from the government side. So the appointments that we're talking about of our new ministers that have been put in place now, we've received a lot of, feedback of these new appointments. All right, so the producers have given us a good, brief. At a glance, you can see exactly what's going on with our new ministries. So President Akufo Addo reshuffles. I'm not comfortable with the reshuffle, so producers can work around that. But this is a new appointment. It has nothing to do with reshuffle, maybe. I think we should do that. Is that nominates new ministers. So Honorable Katie Hammond is Minister for Trade. Of course, he's a member of Parliament as well, Minister for Trade and Industry. We have Honorable Brian Achampo, Minister for Food and Agriculture. Stephen Asamoah Boateng is also a Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. Honorable Mohammed Amin Adam, Minister of State in the Finance Ministry. One that a lot of people think that this is long overdue is Honorable Osebunsu Amwa, who's Minister for Local Government. In fact, he's one person that I will gladly say congratulations. I think it's been expected, so it's in place. Now, Deputy Minister for Energy is also in the person of Herbert Krapper, and then also Dr. Stephen Amwa, Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry. He and Katie Hammond obviously having attracted a lot of analysis, I would say, on social media. So Brian Achampong, he's MP for Abetifi constituency in the eastern region of Ghana. He succeeded Peter Riafepepra, who died while in office. He's now the Minister Designate for Food and Agriculture in place of Dr. Uswefrie Akoto. Can I have the next one? So Kobina Tahir Hammond is also MP for Adansia Sokwa constituency in Ashanti region. He was member of Finance, Mines and Energy Committee in the 7th Parliament of the 4th Republic of Ghana. He's now the Minister Designate for Trade, Industry in place of Alan Kojo Chermating. And we have Mohammed Amin Adam. I was on a flight with him some months ago. He is the MP for Karaga in the Northern Region. He was stationed at the Energy Ministry as Deputy Minister. He has been appointed Minister for State Designate at the Finance Ministry in place of Charles Eduboahen, who was Deputy Minister for Energy and founder and Executive Director of Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP. And then, okay. Now, Osebunsu Amwa is also the Member of Parliament for Ikuapem South. He is Minister Designate for Local Government and Rural Development Ministry in place of Dambotre. He is a member of the Standing Orders Committee, a member of the Subsidiary Legislation Committee, and also member of the Appointment Committee. Now, Herbert Krapper, also a long-time friend, really. He was Deputy Minister at the Ministry of Trade and Industry. He is a governance and legal expert who served as government spokesperson on governance and legal affairs at the Ministry of Information, December 2020. He is a lawyer and called to the Ghana Bar in 2017 with experience in trade and investment. But Katie Hammond is also a lawyer, but you put in right. Henry, you are biased. I'll call you out. So the trade and investment law, commercial law, debt restructuring, among others. He has currently been appointed as Deputy Minister Designate for Energy in place of Mohammed Amin Adam. And of course, we have Stephen Amwa, popularly known as Stika. He is MP for Inshaiso constituency. He's currently a board member of GCB Bank. He is currently replacing Herbert Krapper as Deputy Minister Designate for Trade and Industry, and he's also doctor now. It will be in good place to add that he's a doctor now. Now, Stephen Asamoah Boateng is also a former MP for Mfantsiman West constituency in the Central Region. He's a former Minister for Local Government and Rural Development. He's also former Minister for Information and National Orientation. As a former Chief Executive of the State Enterprise Committee, he's currently the Director General of the State Interest and Governance Authority, SIGA, and is now the Minister Designate for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs in place of Ebenezer Kojo Kum, who recently tendered in his resignation. I said the members of ministers who tendered in their resignation gave reasons. In the case of Charles Eduboahen, we all know what happened, with all these Anas and his plenty issues. So it kind of affected him. But the rest gave reasons. The one I'm having a problem with is a chieftaincy minister that we have not had any official communication as to why he resigned. You may have picked information around. It's been social media. People are talking, yes. But officially, we don't have any issue or reasons why he resigned. I guess we can, Palgrave will help us with that anyway. Palgrave, you're welcome once again.
Thank you, Andy.
Yes, our designate ministers. So if you can first give us any, can you give us any further information about the chieftaincy minister? What's his state?
So, Annie, a very good afternoon to you and to my very good friend. Congratulations on coming on board as part of the leaders of the NDC at the national level. Really to be able to state that President Danko Akufo Addo has done a reshuffle, as many Ghanaians have been calling for.
So he's done what?
He's done a reshuffle.
Who has he reshuffled?
Well, the president has done a reshuffle.
What's a reshuffle?
What's a reshuffle? The president has done a reshuffle.
What is a reshuffle?
He's replaced ministers that resigned.
He hasn't replaced.
And then placed other ministers in other designation. He's done a reshuffle. And so let me just go ahead with my submission that the president, Danko Akufo Addo, has done a reshuffle, and congratulations to all persons that have been nominated into their various designated ministries. We would wish them the best, especially in these difficult times as a government. You are aware, you asked particularly about the chieftaincy minister. You are aware that in government, the president appoints, and when people serve and at various stages, they have reasons why and how they do not want to serve anymore. They place it before the president, and the president accepts that. That is by far what I can say. I do not have any other official communique as to why he resigned, for which reason I can put in the public domain.
But you should.
Well, I don't have that yet. And so when I do...
When can we get it?
I don't know, to be honest. I think that we should just leave it at it. I mean, I think we should leave it at it.
That's not right.
Well, I think we should leave it at it.
If we have someone that we have appointed by way of the president's appointment, we have paid this person. I know that the president gave his ministers KPIs. I know that we have been paying ministers as well. In the public domain, we've picked up information that he has actually not been well. He's been indisposed for a period of time, at least a year, if not more. So if there is any other reason aside that, we should know. Even if that is the reason, we should know officially, because as is it now, we don't know.
Well, people's health are really very private and really very personal. And so I
don't see anything wrong with telling us that on health grounds. Just that phrase is nothing private about on health grounds.
Well, the former Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs is available to grant those conversations. I think that the studio can reach out to him for him to state the reasons that he resigned from the government. But President has accepted his resignation. As a government, we are forging ahead very strongly.
I don't want to take this as a banter. Are you asking us to go and look for the minister, the former minister, and ask those questions?
No, but...
You don't have any answers to us.
I don't have answers to that.
And the president doesn't have any answers to us.
Annie, I've not said the president hasn't got answers to that. The former minister resigned. The president accepted his resignation. And the president has put in a new minister designate to be able to continue the work there. And I think that is fair. It's fair to commend his work that he had done in the previous years, and wish the best of luck to Asamoah Boateng, who has picked up realms of leadership within the chieftaincy and religious affairs. And so I would want to leave it there. I don't want us to deliver a point to take a lot of time to discuss one particular minister who resigned for maybe some very obvious reasons that many of us will be aware of, if it is his health. And health is a very challenging conversation that sometimes is very difficult to put in the public domain. So when he was sick, I'm not sure that there were a lot of official communique to that. So we would want to leave it there and wish these gentlemen the best of luck in the various ministries to help the government of President Danko Akufo Addo forge ahead stronger and firmer as we govern and serve this country.
All right. Let's Elikem, if you can give me your opening remarks on the new appointments as well.
I think the president missed a golden opportunity. This is not a reshuffle at all. He has rather even increased his appointments. There's a minister of state at the presidency or Ministry of Finance. That is different entirely from deputy minister. So
Yeah, but there was someone there already.
yeah, but it doesn't. A minister of state is totally different from a deputy minister, and they are two different things. And so he missed a golden opportunity to demonstrate that he is indeed a listening government. He has rather demonstrated how insensitive and reckless they have been from the word go, because Ghanaians have cried out so loudly, including their own people, who said that one particular person they singled out within government was the president's very relative, the finance minister. And so if the finance minister, who says he's not receiving salary, and the people say, look, we don't need your services, just step aside, he doesn't want to. And the president has gotten that golden opportunity to demonstrate to the cry of the people that, look, I have listened to you and I feel that my nephew has to step down because he has been a square peg in a round hole for too long. But decided that, no, I can't dispense with him. He's probably got some secrets that if I dispense of him now, I may be in trouble. Or there are some greater family benefits that we haven't finished yet, or whatever, just my imaginations. And so let me keep him there. And that notwithstanding, if you look at the people that have been appointed, I'm not sure there's any new thing being said there. These are just same old horses who I don't see anything different. If you take Brian Achampon, you remember the Yawaso West Wuogon incident where people were maimed. Some few days ago, they celebrated an anniversary after that incident. If you take Stephen Amoa, he's been very jocular more often. And I think we are in serious times and need people who will be very serious. If you take, who else? I unfortunately, Brian Achampon, I told you. And so I think we are just digging deeper. I mean, more square pegs in the round holes, because for a president to wait for 6 years for people to resign before he now tries to want to fill in tells you he has no men. There were no men on the bench. And so from the very word go, he brought in his best. And the results for his best is what we are seeing today, the quagmire we find ourselves in, with the reckless borrowing, the irresponsible expenditures, and their insensitivity towards the plight of the Ghanaian. And so it's most unfortunate. I mean, so Dan Bocho has not been given an appointment. He's been relieved of his position. I am very happy for that, because I'm aware of some incidents in the Guan district, for instance, the assembly office that they occupy. They have still not made payment for that premise they occupy till date. And I heard from other courtesies that there were allocations for that. As to what happened, only Dan Bocho and the deputy chief of staff could tell us. So it's very disappointing, to say the least. The most difficult job on planet Earth at this moment is to be a government spokesperson. I applaud Palgrave for taking the bold step to get to the table even today, because it's not easy. I mean, the president himself is not bold enough to be admitting that we are in difficult times because of him and his family and cronies. But to send some of the assigns out there to still be defending this indefensible regime is a very difficult task, especially when the very people at the helm of affairs that have drawn us into this mess are still enjoying on the largesse of the public purse. I mean, this is a time for the president to demonstrate that I am listening to the Ghanaian, and for that reason, I am cutting government size, to even demonstrate to the IMF that, look, we are cutting down on our size. But it's rather been an increase. And you made mention of the chieftaincy minister. I mean, it's no news, it's no secret that he was not well for the greater part of his time. And so if maybe now he is well, but he feels that it is an appropriate time to abandon ship because where the course they are taking is best for him to use health grounds to abandon ship, I think it's a good decision he took. And so I don't see anything new coming on board. I mean, the very people who are coming are just coming to mess the regime up the more. Ghanaians only need to brace themselves for the West, because where we've gotten to now, you recall the president said he came out boldly when now minority leader mentioned that there were going to be haircuts. It took the president boldly to address the nation and say there were no haircuts. There were not going to be haircuts. That was the sitting president who had absolutely no idea about what even haircut meant, I guess. Or he knew what haircut meant and he didn't know.
No, maybe he had been briefed.
Well, so those who were briefing him have all messed it up.
And when he said, I remember when he said, "Oh, there won't be haircuts."
Yes.
The information minister then, Kujo Nkrumah, came out to explain further.
And the problem with communication is that, Annie, when you speak and it needs a second person to explain your communication, then there's a total failure. That is one of the cardinal principles of communication. When I speak here, I don't need translators to come and translate my English into English. So that is one major challenge this regime has found itself in. Then you had the finance minister who unfortunately could not see beyond his nose-reel. So he was himself saying, we are a proud nation, we will not go to IMF today, we will not go to IMF tomorrow. In less than a fortnight, we were cup in hand begging the IMF to take us in. That tells you that the very people who were in charge of the economy knew close to nothing about governance, about leadership, about the economy. They were just in autopilot mode and enjoying. When they were flying over, making appointments to the extent of having people called ladies in waiting or what have you, and we talked about it. What did they say? There was an enormous task ahead and we have to address it. What tax have they addressed so far? The public debt has risen to 575 billion. This regime has added 455 billion to our public debt. And President Akufo Addo expects us to be applauding him. Now they are our parents who are old, 70 years, 80 years, who are expecting their bond to mature and assess that, some even on health grounds, in order to seek medical care. Without seeking their consent, you have just decided to go there and say, you know what, it's maturing the next 2 years or 3 years, but I'm extending it to the next 20 years or 10 years. Who does that? Very illogical, insensitive, and irresponsible.
And we have ministers that he has appointed now.
Yes.
Hoping that, maybe they will say, we're already
if you look at this appointment,
if you look
at this appointment, none of them is related to the problem we find ourselves in. None of them.
No, that cannot be factual.
Yeah, I mean,
trade. I mentioned trade earlier. I mentioned
you see,
Agric Ministry earlier.
Agric Ministry has told us that we are food sufficient already. So if we should supposed to take the cash crop poultry is a cash crop man. What's the name? The man who said, the one who has left. What's his name?
Akutu.
Yeah, yeah. And so he said we are food sufficient already. So what problem is there again? If you take which other one?
But saying food sufficient doesn't necessarily mean that we cannot produce more. Because if we are able to get to the level where we're producing to export, then that definitely will cut down our imports.
Is that one of your dreams for Ghana in this current dispensation? If it is, kill it immediately, because it won't work. It is not going to happen under this dispensation that will have enough to even export, because they are even placing ban on the little that is being exported. See, the most unfortunate situation is that Ghanaians expected one particular person to even be removed, and that is the finance minister. Go out there onto the streets with your cameras and ask the average Ghanaian and the investor community that what would have happened even if the finance minister was removed. There would have been a rebound in your own favor. But they didn't see it that way. There's a relation involved, and the president hasn't got the nerve to be able to stand to this. And that is why we find ourselves in the mess we find ourselves.
I'm just reading, Paragraph, you're looking at me, I'm reading about Brian Achampong here on Parliament's page. It says that he has certificates in PR adverts, MKT, certificate in organizational leadership, certificate in effective leadership management administration, and masters in professional studies, applied intelligence. All right. He has MBA business administration, BSc management, Master's Professional Studies, Applied Intelligence. Okay, I read that. Yeah. And an MA also in Intelligence and Security. I've personally known Brian Achampong as someone who is a security intelligent person. So I saw him in that area. I'm not saying that with his expertise, he doesn't
to the farm.
No, don't reduce the argument. I'm just looking at the skills he comes to the table with, maybe with leadership, maybe with the applied intelligence, definitely, and know how he can put things together as a Ministry of Agri.
The problem we find ourselves in is not rocket science. It doesn't require somebody with all the PhDs globally to resolve them. The president has been irresponsible with his consumption and expenditure. The president and his family his nephew, the finance minister, have been very reckless in borrowing. The IMF made us know that in spite of the external shocks as a result of the COVID-19, the war in Ukraine, probably the earthquake in Turkey, Ghana's main problem is internal. You recall when they were even distributing the COVID funds and some of their parliamentary candidates said they were giving 100,000 and all that. We've now found out how they dissipated the purse on that. We've also found out how, look, this economy started taking nosedive before COVID. If you recall, the Franklin Kujo Forest Committee was set up in, I think, January or February of 2019. When did we record COVID? 6th or 8th of March 2020. So a year before COVID, the economy was taking a nosedive. And don't forget that EI, the Economic Intelligence, predicted already in 2016, October, that based on the sound footing the then regime headed by President Mahama had placed, Ghana's economy was going to grow by the 7% which it actually grew by. So they were only enjoying and swimming in the flow of what a predecessor had actually, foundation that had been laid. So when their economy actually had to take effect, that was in 2019, then they were found wanting. And so they could not actually hold the fort. Don't forget that when you take all the indices, be it the public debt, be it the corruption perception index, etc., this regime has messed us up.
So Paragraph, let me come to you. I've read Paragraph, Brian, maybe I'll go on to others, but what significantly are these new ones coming on board? Well, maybe there's some fresh wind of change, so we would applaud that and appreciate it. But what do you think is going to be so significant with their coming in now as major players in the ministry?
So, Annie, just to focus very strongly on the conversations, really on the reshuffle that the president has made. A lot of the decisions that the president makes is in consultation with the party office and the leaders of the party to assign rightful people to various designations and ministries within the country. I mean, no doubt in my mind that irregardless of your very specified academic laurels over the years, based on your experiences, you can serve in any field, really, that you are placed in. And I'm very confident.
Once you've had a mature
absolutely,
education, it's easy to apply.
I'm very confident that the various ministers, Honorable Brian Echampong, Katie Hammond, Osei Bonsu, Herbert Krampa, Amin Adam, Dr. Stephen Amwa. I mean, no doubt that these, Asamoah Boateng, these ministers that have been designated to the various ministries will be able to rise up to the occasion. I don't want to use the platform to do petty politicking because I think that at this very critical time of our country, we need to be able to forge ahead and look forward to the growth and development of the country. And I'm very confident that these gentlemen would work to the much admiration of the Ghanaian people, including the NDC.
So let's go straight into the ministries, what we're expecting. How do we expect a turnaround? Of course, when it comes to energy, we all know what we expect Ghana to do by now. We expect that if we have oil, Ghana has oil, we should be able to be refining. But the communication around oil obviously is not so good. We have to, now we are into gold for oil deal. We want something different there. When it comes to the agric ministry, we know what Akuto left us with, and we are hoping to build on that and, take the country from one point to the other, because I think production was one of the communication points of His Excellency when he was coming into office, to turn around maybe the exchange of the country in terms of the import and export, and make Ghana an agrarian economy, really produce more. So there are some key points that we're expecting that these ministers will be able to achieve generally. But what specifically is coming from government side towards them, that this is what I want to have within this set period of time?
So government already has an existing policy, really, that we campaigned upon from the 2020 general election. In addition, these new persons are going to be given very specific mandates from the president to be able to achieve in terms of their KPIs. And I'm in no doubt in my mind that those KPIs that will be given will be in line to the very current economic challenges and how we can be able to revive the economy. I mean, as it relates to agriculture, as it relates to energy, I mean, there's not been a major change in the energy ministry. It's just been a deputy minister. So the minister for energy is still the Honorable Matthew Opoku Prempeh, who is still leading the energy industry. There's been an addition of the Honorable Herbert Krampa. If you look at local government, there's not been much of a change. Obi was a deputy minister. So a number of things in there as it relates to the vision and policies of government are going to continue. Obviously, their leadership skills is going to bring out the best that we need for our government. You look at Honorable Brian Champon in the agric sector. Agric is critically very important,
but you
especially
know from the grapevine that there are possible halting of some of these government policies. I'm not going to be specific on that, but for the situation that we're in, it's actually pushing us into considering the review of some of these policies. So it means that even ministers that are taking charge would have to reconsider, recalibrate, and see, okay, what can we put in, what can we take out?
At this, I think that at this very critical time of our government, we have less than 24 months to go into a major general election. And so whoever the president, Nana Addo Akufo Addo, places in the helm of affairs in the various ministries have a critical task, really, in cementing the legacy of President Nana Addo Akufo Addo. Secondly, also reminding the Ghanaian people that the MPP political party is the best political party for them to vote for us in 2024. Also bringing out the best. I mean, it's better to end well. Both the beginning and the end is important. But I mean, no doubt in my mind that these final batch of ministers that are coming in are really going to take the final baton to end well, so we can be able to restore this country to the path of prosperity and integrity that we need.
Let me bring in the chieftaincy and religious affairs. If anything that we picked from the grapevine is true, that the minister had not been well, is there anything that ministry was lacking in the absence of that minister?
Well, you know, if you look at the ministry for chieftaincy, a lot of the ministries do not work in isolation. I mean, a lot of the ministries are in sync with others. And so clearly there are workers there. They had a deputy minister who was also making sure that things were working. It will be very difficult to state that they were not achieving their KPIs over the long haul of the ill state of the former minister. So I'm in no doubt that.
So they were able to achieve.
Definitely, I'm in no doubt in my mind that Asamoah Boateng.
No, I don't want no doubts. Let me know.
They were able to achieve.
They were able to
achieve their KPIs.
So which ministry was associating with them to ensure that they were actually meeting their KPIs?
Oh no, so you talk about Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. So it gives you a clear indication that there are two arms of that. Chiefs, bodies that are able to put together chiefs. You look at our Ministry for Lands and Natural Resources. The Honorable Minister Abu Jinapo continually engaged the chiefs as it relates to Galamsey. I mean, you recall that in those times. Religious affairs, you see how our religious bodies have been critically very active. Christian Council of Ghana, Pentecostal Council, Islamic Union, Catholic Secretariat, all of that. Really just making sure that the wills of justice and the grind of governance continually goes on in keeping the government accountable. So these are two critical ministries that I could immediately state that work in sync with the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. And even with the National House of Chiefs, they have their own leadership that they work with, and if there are issues that need to be addressed, even from the policy angle of government, there are always various channels that those issues can be turned to.
So, will you say you want to call this reshuffle? That's okay. Why is it that the president seemed to have no plan to cut down ministerial size?
I do not think that the president has made a reshuffle. The size of government I've seen and heard that people have made comments about the size of government. Our government is delivering on the promises that we have made to the Ghanaian people. Government has cut down expenditure. Clearly, you'll recall last year, March, when we had our cabinet retreat, we started an expenditure cut of 30% of MMADAs, cut salaries, cut fuel voucher by 50%, per diems by 50%.
How much have we been able to?
We raised close to about
raise
45 to 50 million from April of 2022 to December.
45 what?
45 to 50 million.
45 to 50
Ghana
million.
cedis, yes.
From the salaries or
from all the expenditure cuts, from all the cuts, over the 9 months. And you recall
last month, January to
no
April.
December of 2022, and you also December last year, December.
To when?
It was from
January.
April, no,
From
April
Yeah,
of 2022 to December 2022. You also recall that when the president had the State of the Economy address on the 31st of October 2022, he extended the expenditure cut to 2023. So as we speak now, all those expenditure cuts have been rolled over into 2023. So clearly, our government has cut down very significantly on a number of measures, really telling the Ghanaian people that we are burden sharing.
Significant when we're going to the IMF for 3 billion.
You do not think that 50 million is significant?
I don't know. I'm comparing.
No, I think that is better than none.
I'm not saying it's not better than. I'm just saying that if you look at what we're going for, which is 3 billion, if I extend the discussion to the Bank of Ghana, it has supported Ghana with 3 billion, Ghana government with $3 billion, at least that's the information we have. If you are raising 50 million from all these measures you say you have taken, how is that significant to you?
Well, it's significant in the government coffers, definitely. I cannot underestimate the impact of that.
So what burden is that going to take? Because as it is now, we are stripping bondholders naked with whatever investment they have done, depending on what measures that we're putting in place, the finance minister is putting in place. So you know, as a government, that you need to go further because you cannot necessarily kill
Government is not stripping bondholders. And I'll tell you the truth. You see, when we began the debt exchange program in terms of the domestic debt exchange program, the earlier conversation was even a zero coupon at 2023. We've gone ahead, government, having met with the individual bondholders, divided the bondholders into about two segments of 59 and above in terms of age and then 59 below, and has stated that we're going to pay 10% coupon every single year for 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, and 2028, 2029. We pay principal of what you invested, which is 50% each, which is clearly being close to about 5 to 7 years for you to be able to get your money. That's about 10% when you are below the age of 59. If you're above the age of 59, government is giving 15% coupon every single year. For 2023, this year, 15% coupon, 2024, 15% coupon, 2025, 15% coupon, 2026, 15% coupon, 2027, 15% coupon, and your principal, 50% 2028 and 2029. Now, Annie, anyone that does investments around the world is always averse to risk. Now, howbeit, every single year, government ordinarily would pay coupons of about 19%. So if you look at the global economic challenges and the situation that we find ourselves in, government is taking 9% from people, about 9% from people that are below 59 years old, and taking about 4% from people that are above 59 years old. These are conversations that we've been having over the few weeks, and it's been a very difficult conversation. Government appreciates the very teething challenges that this would bring on the Ghanaian people who have invested in government security bonds. But we have stated that within the shortest possible time, we should be able to get our debt to GDP at about 50 to 55%.
I have more questions. Elikem, I'm sorry, I'll just let you come in. So That was just a diversion because of what we're talking about. We had to go into the debt exchange program because that we're trying to get to the situation of what Ghanaians are going through. But I'm going to the ministries. I'm asking if you take out the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources. If we take Ministry of, let's say, Sanitation, we take it out. We take right now we have Ministry of Railway Development and we have Ministry of Transport. It's been two of the ministries people have called on you to just merge it and put one person there. That will bring in more coffers and add to your 50 million that you're gathering. If we have Ministry of Tourism, Culture, and Creative Arts, and in fact, I always say that ministry, if you put it together with Chieftaincy Ministry, I don't think it will still, be in almost the same.
So I'm trying to understand what you're trying to do. What you're trying to do is to sit in a position where you are cutting down ministries and merging ministries from a non-policy angle. So let me
propose.
Yeah, proposal. Actually,
Let's just take it. I don't know anything.
No. I understand. But let me explain a bit. So government has very strong policies that needs to be implemented and driven through particular ministries, which is the emphasis. Government is building a railway system, which is a stronger emphasis. Elikem would admit that anytime he's traveling to the Volta region, he will see the infrastructural works of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo Addo on those roads for our railway system. Government has very clear focus. A merger of tourism with chieftaincy is taking away government's very strong focus on bringing in large number of African diaspora into the country to partake in tourist ventures. Government has very strong focus and policies that are implemented through these ministries.
So because of the word strong, if you put together the chieftaincy and joint chieftaincy with Ministry of Tourism and Culture and Creative Arts, that is going to diffuse government's strength or strong standing on a policy that it wants to implement?
Government is very holistic, and all of what government does is really to be able to ensure that you have people at the right places who are implementing your policies. And you would understand that government always has a very shorter time to lead and to govern, because the kind of political system that we run in this country gives every single government a smaller and a shorter opportunity to brighten the light where they find themselves. And I mean, no doubt in my mind that these ministries are their own that we have created, and the impact that it has created in the Ghanaian economy can never be underestimated.
Let me take a break. I'll be back shortly. Welcome back to Good Afternoon, Ghana. So we're having a discussion. As a non-policy expert, I'm asking some questions about policies of ministries. I still have Elikem with me and also Pagre with me. Can I go to Elikem?
You are the host.
Thank you. Because I was just doing a back and forth.
Annie, I just want to make some little quick correction in case my brother is suffering from some amnesia. There are 97.
That's not good. I'm not suffering.
Well,
I'm not suffering from amnesia.
Then good. Then let me refresh your memory.
I'm not suffering from
amnesia. Sorry, you're not suffering.
Please.
But let me tell you that the project you're talking about, the Tema Mpakadan project.
My producer said that was too harsh.
Oh, sorry. The 97-kilometer railway project was a facility that was secured under President John Mahama on the 31st of October 2016, 398 million facility from the Indian Exim Bank. So do not try taking credit for it as though you have actually the ones who have done that. All that was done was for you to come and to execute the project. You have actually been diverted the cost of the railway. That is just by the way.
Oh, it has been diverted.
Yes. And see, for instance, like the analysis you were making, you recall I told you that we don't need rocket science or rocket scientists to help us solve the problem we find ourselves in. But government continues to complicate issues. Take tourism, for instance, as you said. And then we're saying that we're promoting tourism, etc. So a certain ex-convict called McMill flew in all the way from the U.S. and made the presidency almost like his abode. He could walk about anyhow, and you would have to be asked to dress very well to go there. Is that the kind of tourism we're talking about? Look at Idris Elba, and when he visited Otumfuo, tell me between these two people, who is attracting tourism to Ghana? So this is a regime that is very talkative and not ready to do what is expected of it. You forgot to even add that we have the aviation ministry, I guess.
Yeah.
You see, all this falls under transport. But in order to create avenues for many people to find jobs, so they are doing this. And
maybe
it is
aviation
crippling.
you have a strong policy
Yeah,
on creating
and
your
you see,
own
so
airspace.
it is crippling, and it is most shameful. It is most shameful. Hearing my brother say that initially it was zero coupon and all that. It shouldn't have even occurred to you in your thoughts in the first place. To have thought that people's bonds, you were going to decide on it, that it was going to be at zero coupon, and now you have changed to, what, is it 5%, what have you?
Wow,
And
wow.
so that is baloney. Look, it is an insult to the Ghanaian who feels that I'm investing there. What do you think is the signal you are sending out there? Many people who still have even some monies with them today have decided not to venture into any such investments. Even if you have $1, if you have £1, if you have €1, you are better off keeping it under your roof. Because you feel even if the robbers come and take it, then you know that you were robbed of it. But not when your government, which is supposed to provide you the safest haven, is now the one refusing to listen or heed good advice. And haven't we talked about this, Annie? From the word go, this regime kept insulting and attacking the NDC that we were propagandists, we were naysayers, we didn't know our left from right, we professed so many solutions. Till date, it amazes me when you now tell them that they have rendered this economy useless, they take offense. But their conduct, in all essence and measures, have demonstrated that they have actually been very useless at managing this economy. They may be very useful themselves, but they have been very useless at managing the economy. The president stood on platforms and told us that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia had the whole world's wisdom, economic wisdom, to solve problems. He was about asking 170 questions. Now you have been given the authority. And this is where we are. What happened? Suddenly. And is this the competent managers they were talking? Are these the competent managers they were talking about? So like I keep saying, there is no rocket science approach to these. If they can get off their high horses. Look, I think it's about 2 years now since they called for the cessation. Yeah, but you cannot
disregard expertise.
We are not saying we should disregard expertise, but when the expertise is becoming zero. See, it's almost 2 years now since how do you call it? We've called for the cessation of collection of road tolls, right? We were making on average, let me just do that quick calculation for you. We're making on average 8 million every month from the collection of road tolls. 8 million Ghana cedis. Multiply that by 24. That is 192 million Ghana cedis that has gone down the drain. Now, if we need to restore even the toll booths in order to get money again, this same regime will conduct itself in a manner that we will be tempted to say it is broad-day thievery, because it will cost us so much to even restore the toll booths to their original state. That will be another contract for another crony. The Saglemi project, that they told us themselves that, oh, in spite of whatever, whilst their proceedings are ongoing for prosecution, whatever, they were going to make sure that where they are selling it out. What's happening to the telco company?
But the Saglemi, is it necessarily selling, or because of the money, the amount of money we need to complete the project?
How long did we wait for the project to deteriorate?
Oh, okay, that's
the approach to things have not helped. And I always keep saying that when I come to your studio, yes, I represent the NDC, but I speak as a Ghanaian. Because if my brother gets to the pump to buy fuel, they will not ask if he's MPP or NDC. Even if they identify with him as an MPP, they will only say, oh, honorable, oh, yeah. He will still buy it at the same price I'm buying it at. Right. So we have rather even become spokespersons for them. And I feel so sorry that the average Ghanaian on the street is struggling. Somebody who has suffered to work, his investment is now at risk. Then you've made this appointment with the very most critical one that everybody expects to be fired. It tells you that the president is not principled. He hasn't gotten the strong will to see Ghana through the quagmire we find ourselves in. So he has still allowed for his relative, the finance minister, to stay at post whilst he is trying to even increase the number of appointees. And that is very sorry.
Paragraph, I'll give you the chance for Randy will say closing prayer.
Oh, well, just basically to be able to state that our government is a very focused government. The leadership of President Nana Addo Akufo Addo will deliver the mandate.
When you use the rhetoric, a very focused...
Very, very focused government. We will not be...
But you know he's been rhetoric.
What does rhetoric mean?
What it means is that they will do whatever they want anyways, no matter what you and I say.
He's putting an
interpretation. Yeah, that's focused.
He's putting an interpretation.
They are focused. They are going there.
That's not what I'm saying.
They are going there.
So put your interpretation.
I said our government is very focused.
On what?
On delivering on the mandate that the Ghanaian people have given to us. Can I not make my statement? I said the government of President Nana Addo Akufo Addo is focused on delivering on the mandates that the Ghanaian people have given to us. We are focused and we are making sure that all loose ends within the country, we fix it. That is why we are here to govern, and that is why we are here to serve.
Swan says, good afternoon. Nana Akufo Addo should change Ken Ofori-Atta and bring a fresh person to restore confidence to the economy. Nana Akufo Addo should listen and listen well. For Malhaji Haruna Shaman, I have a lot, but my time is up. So let me just ask a quick one. Is the finance minister ever going to be changed? Because if you follow the discussion on social media, almost everybody that commented, at least on my wall, Twitter and Facebook, it was as though it's much ado about nothing. It's the finance minister we want out.
The president, Nana Addo Akufo Addo, appoints and disappoints.
So he will not disappoint the finance minister?
I do not know. I'm not the president. The president.
No, you're supposed to give us information. That's why you're here.
Which is why I'm telling you, the president, Nana Addo Akufo Addo, appoints and disappoints.
And he has not indicated to you that he will remove the finance minister?
As we speak today, the president has made a reshuffle. The finance minister is at post.
It's not part of it.
Exactly.
They're waiting for now. They said they want debt to GDP to reach 50-55. At 50-55, let them be reminded they called a certain gentleman called John Dramani Mahama incompetent for being at 50-55. And so why are they now targeting to be at where Mahama was? Is that gross and legendary incompetence?
You can find your definition to that. Okay. So Elikem Kotoko is also from the NDC, Deputy National Organizer for the party. Thank you, Elikem, for coming through. Thank you, Paragraph, as well. My name is Ania Fompo for this. Has been good afternoon, Ghana.